Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining the CannAtlantic Conference, the country's first Mid-Atlantic cannabis conference brought to you by the Philadelphia Association of Black Journalists. If you're watching us and you're joining this session today as part of the conference, this is going to be a session about navigating a global pandemic as a cannapreneur. As many of people know, and I'm sure some of you know, that being an entrepreneur is very hard. It's even harder being a cannabis entrepreneur too. And it's really, really hard trying to be an entrepreneur during a global pandemic and a global uprising as well. So moderating this conversation is Tahir Johnson, Business Development and Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Manager at the National Cannabis Industry Association. He's going to introduce himself. He's going to let the panelists talk about who they are. And we're going to talk about how cannapreneurs are just operating in this state of just turbulence, uneasiness, and a lot of things are up in the air right now. And we're going to learn some tips and some tricks and just ways to navigate and make sure that everyone is staying afloat and keeping their businesses and their mental health level and good. So with that being said, Tahir, thank you for doing this. Thank you for moderating. I'm going to kick it off to you and looking forward to this discussion.
Absolutely. What's going on, everybody out there? Like Tahir said, I'm Tahir Johnson, and it's my pleasure to moderate this panel today. Like he said, I'm going to be checking in with a few cannapreneurs to see how they've been navigating this changing landscape. We're in a whole new world with COVID and so many other things coming at us. And I'm looking forward to hearing their advice and seeing how they've been coping. So to introduce you to our esteemed panel today, we have AK Aveksha. Adhu Krishnan. He's the founder of AK Aveksha, a hemp company that develops teas, tinctures, and topicals. He's based right in my neck of the woods in the DMV, and he's scheduled to become a vendor at this conference before we went virtual. So it's a pleasure to still have him with us now, joining here today. We also have my main man, Vladamir Bautista, the co-founder and managing member of Happy Munkey, LLC, an internationally known NYC lifestyle company that runs a lounge in New York City, has their own media platform, is expanding its presence even during the COVID-19 pandemic. I had a chance to meet Vlad and David in NYC, man. I'm part of the Happy Munkey fam. I actually regularly write for their column, so it's dope to have you on here, bro. And,
it's an honor.
Last but not least, we have Sister Fatima McDonald, and she's the founder of Mello Infusions, a Mello cafe in Philadelphia. Mello Infusion sells high-quality, organic, locally sourced, smokable, sippable, and soakable herb blends and operates a lounge co-working space in Philadelphia. Fatima's working to open up a cannabis-friendly space in Philadelphia and one of the most ambitious entrepreneurs in the Philadelphia cannabis scene. How you doing today, Fatima?
I'm really glad to be here. Sorry about the tech difficulties and the background noise. Today is one hell of a day and definitely going to be a part of how I've been coping with COVID. So excuse the noise.
Absolutely. No, it's a pleasure to be here with you today. And is that football?
Also,
team?
hey,
Is that
Vlad,
a football
I think we should get a
background?
chance to meet. Yeah.
I know, a pleasure.
Yep, those are my guys, and my first piece that I ever did in shop. I'm a visual artist sometimes when the mood calls for it.
Nice. Well, that's some dope. That looks like some dope work. We definitely have to get into it, and I'm looking forward to speaking with all of y'all. Just to get started, and I don't know who wants to take this first, but I would kind of want to hear this from all of you guys. Could I have each one of you, for the people out here listening that don't know, could I have each of you describe what your business was like pre-COVID, how you operated, some of the things you had planned, and how you've made that shift, since we've been in the pandemic and we haven't been able to get together in person anymore? Who wants to take this one first? Let's hear from Vlad, man. I know the Happy Munkey is definitely like a great in-person experience, man. I'll say it was one of my favorite places to go. Like, I'd never let a trip to New York City go without stopping by there. But you guys have still maintained a presence. It looks like you guys are bigger than ever online. So, talk about, tell people a little bit about the Monkey and what it's been like for you to make this transition.
Well, thank you so much, first of all, Tahir, for having me. Here to talk to the people and to rock with you and the whole team. I appreciate you guys, for having us. Well, Happy Munkey LLC originated as a lifestyle brand, and we were mostly events based. So we focused on events a lot originally, but starting, we always were dibbling and dabbling for the last year in media, and then in January we kind of focused in on really, like, conquering that space, because when it came to events, it was like there was nothing left for us to prove. So we already felt that we had to conquer other landscapes, and then COVID hit in March, and we just took it like we have to, instead of looking at all the unfortunate circumstances, we have to look at all the pros that come out of this. What pros? So everybody's on their phone, everybody's on their computer. So we focused on, we always try to be, obviously the name Happy Munkey, try to be positive and optimistic. So we knew that everybody was getting all the doom and gloom from all the media outlets, as far as like CNN and CNBC. So we focus all our media on positive, optimistic outlooks on cannabis, on educating the people, on showing the people all the different sides of corporate and culture of cannabis, so they can learn and get involved. And now, it's been like a roller coaster to heed. March, we came out in the New York Post. April, we came out in the Source Top 5 Brands. May, we came out in Forbes, hosted Juneteenth, and now I'm here with you, and it's been like a roller coaster. Now we just had our 3-year anniversary a couple of days ago. We have new merchandise that we just dropped, new clothing we just dropped. So it just, like, the movement took a life of its own through media and merchandise and other things, and it just, like, showed that you have to be very creative and be ready for any change that the world and this industry brings, and that's where we are now.
Yeah, man, you're absolutely right. And I think one thing about the Monkey that continues to remain consistent, and you guys are a major source of the culture, right? So whether it's in person or it's online, people are looking for that. And the way that you differentiated yourself has continued to make you stand out. That makes me think about a question for Fatima, right? I know that you were, like you said, planning on launching a cafe. You have a co-working space, which is definitely like an in-person type of thing, as well as, like you said, having a cannabis-friendly space that you were in the process of launching. What are you doing to still stay relevant, even though you may not be able to get people in, even as a large scale as you would like to, due to social distancing?
Well, our focus was never large scale. Well, I say our, but as of this moment, I am the only working things behind the scenes these days. And to be honest, before COVID, we were really focused on creating more intimate environments for things that weren't event based. We were trying to differentiate from the going out crowd in a way that made sense for our market or our community. Lots of people are looking for places where I can just vibe and chill and smoke and lounge and maybe learn something here and there. And that market wasn't really being met here in Philly. And even though our name, suggests a cafe and you feel like that's more of a daytime thing, we're very much so like an after hour spot. We like to look at ourselves as somewhere between a parlor and hospitality. So for us, it was less about big events and more about events with purpose. You walked away with a product or some knowledge or something like that. And through our product, Mello Infusions, we were able to vend and go out and meet new people and bring new people to the space that way. And a lot of our work prior to COVID was very collaborative, because, as a space, we really just wanted to focus on our herbs and offering an environment for like the culture to actually take place. And when COVID hit, obviously for public health reasons, we closed our doors immediately. But we used that time really to educate ourselves on, what our next steps could look like. I spent the summer buying courses in cannabis and, around quality control, getting to know your cannabis. I've been partnering with people like Kaylin, who runs Green Thumb EDU here. I've been looking into, Oakland University, those kind of places where like education's there, but it's also teachable, you know, something that you can take as a group. And we have started to look at education as more of a foundation or a pillar for our space in the same way that we did for hospitality. So we switched out our focus to more based events and more DIY style events where people are doing stuff or making something that's tangible for them. And through that, we also changed the format of our events. We're a very small space. There's 1,600 square feet here. And, you know, being really COVID friendly is really hard with that kind of space, especially with the indoor outdoor component. Regardless, you know, you're still looking at less than 25 people at any given time. So what we've done is we've become more flexible. I don't have a full media team. I don't have AV people behind me. So what we do now is we sell about 10 tickets in person, and we also link the event to our page. So an example of that is like now you're not only getting to connect in person if that's something that you want, but that virtual link plus whatever materials we send you that your membership is already paid for allows you to connect with us from your own space safely. And you're still getting interaction with other people because it's not a Zoom link first focused on one person, and it's not a meeting, you know, you're just kind of there but not there. So I think we're exploring creative ways to compromise both safety and, you know, helping people get more out of their membership than, you know, what they were getting before, what we were limiting ourselves to when we had more of a physical presence. So I think we've evolved for the better. Um, yeah, and in that way, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No, well, I think that's dope because by you not focusing on like the product or the place, right, and focusing on the community, and focusing on like the experience, it's like you've been able to differentiate yourself because your focus was never large scale events anyway, but you've been able to kind of shift it so that you can provide an experience not only for people, the few people that can come in person, but also for those people online to join in. So, and really feel like they're there, they're part of that community. So I think that that's a really dope way to do it. And so like when we talk about community and like, you know, really standing out and how you get access to the people during this, brother AK, like you said, focusing on having a health and wellness company, you know, what are you doing to still kind of make sure that you're getting that market share and getting the attention of people out there? Because I know especially right now, there are a lot of people looking for alternative wellness products, you know, to try to get their immune system up and all types of things. So, you know, what are you doing to try to stand out from the crowd, and how is it different from what you were doing prior to COVID?
Peace, brother. Thank you for having me here, and thank all of you guys for your incredible input. It's great to hear your experiences throughout this COVID stuff because, like Fatima was saying, you know, I'm all alone doing this on my own as well. So when you look at other people in the same boat, it makes me feel like I'm not crazy doing all this shit on my own. So what I will say is that, you know, I'm a product maker. I'm also a farmer, so I'm in all parts of the supply chain. And then when I come back to you know, the customer and the client interaction, I also deal with health consultations, Ayurveda, hemp and wellness, health and wellness as well. So all of that really requires that in-person interaction, if not some kind of direct connection with that client. So for me, when the pandemic hit, it was kind of difficult because we had not just the CannAtlantic Conference, but we had a variety of fantastic events lined up throughout the entire year. And that roster was so important to me as a small business. We started about 4 years ago, completely self-funded. I started with $200 and continued to reinvest back into myself and into this business to grow it from the start. And our products have evolved a lot in that time period. But these events were a huge place for us to be able to connect with our clients, meet new clients, have people sample our products and all that. And the sampling was really a huge way to get that final sale to happen and get people to see and understand what CBD and what hemp products, as well as what, you know, natural Ayurvedic medicinal products can do for them. Because the thing with these products is they work so quickly. You know, with a topical, someone can feel relief within 15 minutes of application. So if somebody has a bad knee or whatever the case, they would just try that from the table at these events, apply it, and then walk around. And within 10, 15 minutes, they'd walk back and tell me about, you know, how well that product worked for them. So that was a big hit to us, not being able to interact with people in person and not being able to have people sample products, even the tinctures, all of that. But to work around it, we've had to kind of pivot, and it's been good because everything is in alignment. You know, even prior to COVID hitting, I've been working on developing my new website, making more content, trying to engage with a virtual community more. And when COVID hit, it just really kind of pushed me further into that alignment, to tell me that I need to, you know, get this up off the ground. So we've been spending our time doing more education online, trying to set up workshops, doing phone consultations, one-on-ones with clients. Oftentimes people will call us with a referral from somebody else who already uses our products, and they'll basically set up a 15-minute phone consultation so I can understand a little bit about what their situation is, what the unique situation they're in is, and how we can kind of look at the multimodality approach to helping them with their health and wellness. So it's limited in the sense that I can't see somebody, I can't touch them, I can't feel their pulse, I can't necessarily interact with them in the full extent that I want to, but it has been a blessing in the way that a lot more people are interested in their health and wellness, and a lot more people are open to alternative ways of health and wellness right now, especially considering, you know, the way that modern medicine is dealing with COVID is really clearly not helping people as much as it's supposed to be. So, you know, they're looking to us, and as healers in the community, people like myself, we step up and we provide because that's all we can do right now. So I'm appreciative for my extremely supportive community to keep us sustained and afloat. And not only that, but thriving through this pandemic. We've seen the uptake in sales. We've seen a lot more people, like I said, interested in health and wellness, so they're willing to invest into that. And more people ultimately calling us and asking those questions for themselves. So it's important, man. Yeah, so I appreciate it. It's been a journey, but I'm happy to still be here and still sustaining.
Wow, I'm
Yeah,
so
brother.
glad
And
you
you know, to
mentioned.
talk about,
Sorry.
no, go ahead. Go
I'm
ahead.
glad you mentioned the uptick in sales from like alternative, because I saw the same thing from Mello Infusions. It's crazy. It was like overnight people were like, well, how can I do better for myself? And I
Yep.
just wanted to comment on that. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in.
No, because that's actually what I was going to ask, right? Like I was going to say, you know, it's interesting because due to COVID early on, we saw where businesses owned by Black and Brown people were severely impacted, right? Like the rate of our businesses that did not make it
Yep.
through the pandemic, it had a huge impact to our business. But we also have seen like a huge uptick, especially like with I'll say the awareness that people are having, you know, where people want to support Black and Brown businesses. So I was just want to ask, you know, for you guys, you know, what has that experience been like? You know, I know you're all doing somewhat different lines of business and you're in different areas, right? Like what can the community do? What can our elected officials do, like to support you to help make sure that you do stay successful and you'll be able to make it through the other end of COVID? Like how can the community and, you know, people support you guys?
So for me, I mean, all of this initial stages of this business, even if it's been 4 years, it might be for another 5 years, who knows? But in the initial stages, everything is testing proof of concept. So whenever a customer talks to me, provides feedback, tries my product, whatever the case, them giving them a little bit of information back to me and telling me about their experience is a big help in me able to, you know, continue to produce these products, improving these product offerings, the standards, all of it. Because the way that I operate personally as an individual and as a business person is that even if I'm limited in how much access I have to funding now, money is the last barrier. And I think that money will come when you're doing something good, you're doing something with the right intentions, and you're doing it to help people. The whole world and the entire spirit is going to support that project and that vision. So, I mean, it's been a blessing. Right now, mainly what we need is just more eyes and more attention. So that's been causing me to, you know, improve my supply chain, and everything, the whole business as a whole starts to grow and develop just as a result of people engaging, interacting with us.
Yeah. And, you know, one thing I'd like to hear from you guys, what are y'all doing, you know, to stay sane and keep your head above water during COVID? I know for me, it's been a lot of exercise and a lot of weed, man.
I see you, man. I see you doing the push-ups with the joints out there. Yeah.
Nah, I was gonna say, so like, you know, to hear from you guys, like, what advice do y'all have for other entrepreneurs that are trying to make it, like trying to maintain their business but still stay, like I said, stay sane in these times? Brother Vlad, what are you doing up there in NYC?
Well, of course, like you hit the major one, which is you know, definitely consuming more cannabis. In one of my articles, I did an interview. I said that my cannabis consumption has gone up by at least 50%, and I think that's for a majority of cannabis consumers. But aside from that, I've been fortunate to really have an amazing team that and people that believe in our movement, and we just been really like trying to get everybody to be all they can be and try to really get creative and really innovative in these times, because like I said, there's a lot of negatives this year has brought, but there's a lot of positives if you look at it in certain perspectives. It's basically made it in some circumstances an even playing field, because us four on this panel might not have it all figured out, but nobody else does either. So coming from a person of color, that we usually have like total opposite, like as far as like advantages compared to other people, to really like that I like those odds when it's like nobody has it figured out and nobody has footing, more than when it's just usually us that's in those circumstances. It's everybody. So I like those odds better. And to touch on your point that you mentioned earlier, Tahir, what I feel that's missing, especially for people of color and marginalized people, is funding during these times. Another positive thing that happened was cannabis was deemed essential, so in certain states. So if you guys deemed it essential, the people that have suffered the most because of the war on drugs and cannabis, like, get us more funding, get us more resources as far as like, accounting, business acumen, so we can level out the playing field and all the things that resources that we don't have, and we can uplift other people from our communities and really make great organizations. But right now the funding is limited and the resources are limited for people of color. And that's why it's like 92, 93% Caucasian, ran because of that, not, even though the culture still is what drives everything. As far as like large corporations of people of color, it's hard to make it to those levels without funding and resources. And if like, if the politicians and the powers that be would make that more available to people of color and people from communities like ours, then I think that there's no doubt in my mind that you will see amazing companies coming from people that look like us. But I feel like, we're kind of like, it's uphill battle for us from the door.
Most def, most def. And one thing that I would love to hear from y'all is, for brothers and sisters that want to get into the cannabis industry, whether it is having like a direct plant touching company, or like an ancillary business like you guys, what is your top advice that you would give them? And since Fatima came back, I'll have you answer this question. And like I said, I was asking, what advice do you have for people to get in the industry? But then also, talk a little bit about, what you've been doing to keep your head above water, and how the community, or elected officials, or anybody that wants to support small businesses can help you in your business during these times.
Honestly, I can say that my members have been very supportive. It was because of my members that I was even able to reopen after, we were kind of safe for small gatherings again. When I told one of them that we were shutting down for the summer, they actually donated to the business. And with that donation, I was able to offer my members who came back a month free, for being, patient with us and going through those 3 months without the space. Although it was COVID, so, I doubt it was that. But the thing that's been keeping me most sane is giving back. I will honestly say that charity has made me feel really good in terms of just kind of remembering that, it's you actually doing the work of building a community or protecting a community like you said you're supposed to do, in a way that doesn't profit you back. So for the month of March, or not March, for the month of April, we had actually given our proceeds to the Martha P. Johnson Institute. We gave like 19% of our proceeds to them. I have been facilitating kind of like a marketplace for the space for small business owners who are members of ours, who don't have money for like a brick and mortar, and and can't afford something like what you usually see when it comes to vending. But in a way, you know, when you're offering those kind of social equity pieces, when you're building spaces like this, it feels good. So it made me feel good to offer those things. And I think that played a large part in me staying positive during what was otherwise a really hard year for a lot of people. Like being blessed enough to be able to help somebody else and remembering while I'm doing this was things that I did to like keep myself focused and kind of on track to what Mello's goal was initially when we started. So there was that. My piece of advice would probably be, I mean, again, my members have been great. My customers of the Mello Infusions have been very supportive on our online store, both on Etsy and our website. I would say other small businesses collaborate more. You know, this idea that, you know, there's not enough room or there's the scarcity of funding is really just an illusion. I think that, you know, a lot of us, especially those of us who are in the same area, if our concepts are similar or they work in a way that could mesh together well, there should be more of those conversations. There's a lot of there's a lot of combative energy or competition and competitive energy out there, especially in the tri-state area, with legalization being right on the horizon. And I just don't see the need for that. I don't see why we can't be more like conversations like this are good. Everyone wins when the community has more than one option. You know what I mean? And if the community is who we're focused on, they want us to collaborate too. And I just feel like there just hasn't been enough of that. And I've always said that there hasn't been enough of that. And I want to see more of that. I want small business people to come in and know that, you know, hey, I've got an idea and I know if I reach out for help, I'll be supported. You know, I can get some resources from my like-minded brothers and sisters because they want to see me succeed, because that would be good for the culture too, you know?
Yep, that's really important what you're saying about that, because that's what we're doing right now is working with other people who are trying to invest and grow their businesses in the DMV, whether it's CBD product related or being the ancillary side of things. But that's the biggest thing I encourage people is if you're looking to get into the cannabis or hemp industry right now, collaborate, don't compete. So work with people, build partnerships, build avenues where you can create that wealth and build generational wealth for the future as a whole. Because when you guys win together as a group, then your community wins, your participants win, everybody wins in that situation. So it's really the no-brainer. But one thing that I'm doing, to go back to the other question as well, to keep my head clear, is working farm work. So whenever you work with the land, you restore that balance with your spirit. It's the same way we're working out and engaging that balance with your body. When you're tilling the land, when you're working with the soil, you're working with plants and different herbs, that life is traveling through you as well. And I've noticed that even though I work ridiculous hours, I don't get enough sleep, I'm not eating enough, I'm doing a lot on my own, I'm so blessed to be able to work with the land directly, because that's what's providing vitality back to me. And if any of y'all are living in the DMV, around the Maryland area at all, hit me up, because we're doing days where we have people come out and work with us on the lavender farm, Soleado Lavender Farm here in Dickerson, Maryland. We do work days. We do stuff on the wood company, carpentry, firewood. We do lavender planting, aquaponics, whatever you want, you name it. Anything to do with farm life, we got you covered. So I would love to see some of y'all out there if you pull up, you in the area.
Yeah, that's super dope. I'm right in Upper Marlboro, so I'm definitely
Pull
going
up,
to come
man.
through.
I got you. Get some work in.
Yeah.
So
And to
here,
make sure that you all, I'm not there, Vlad.
for people that want to get in the industry, I want to emphasize two very important things, which I think people overlook. First of all, the information is not as available as it is in other industries, but this is a very welcoming and very, you know, helpful community. So you can reach out to people like myself, Tahir, AK, Fatima, and so many others, and people will gladly share the information with you. Number two, I want people to get this very clear. I think it's so important. Everybody thinks you have to have a processing, you have to be a grower, you have to have retail. I want all you people out there to know Happy Munkey LLC does not touch the planet at all, does not do any of those things at the moment, and we are hugely successful. because anything that you are good at in life, you can apply to this industry, whether tech, whether lifestyle, whether culture, you name it. So we do stuff like this. We have just dropped these ashtrays. We have art. We have a magazine, Monkey Biz, which we drop once a month. We have amazing contributors like Tahir, people from the New York Times, Rolling Stone, you name it. So do not get intimidated because you don't have the finances to play at the level of processing, growing, or retail, because there are a million other opportunities and a million other kind of qualities and skills that this industry needs. So don't limit yourself and get intimidated because you don't fit those three. There are so many other things you can do in this industry. And if you ever need help from me or my team, you can go to happymunkey.com and we will do anything in our power to help anybody that wants to get into this industry, especially people of color and people from our community.
Yep.
Yeah, Vlad, and could you also tell the people all that, like, everywhere where they could look you guys up if people want to find Happy Munkey, and then if we can have AK and Fatima tell people where they can look y'all up too, because we want people to support y'all and uplift and elevate y'all, man.
Well, I just mentioned the first one, happymunkey.com with a UHAPPYMUNKEY.com. The same thing on all platforms. We have 3 Instagrams, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Twitter, every social media. We have it. Tune into us if you want to get educated, if you want help, if you want to know about the culture. As Tahir knows, we don't do it for the clout. We do it for the culture. So that's what we're all about. And we are the heart of New York cannabis. If you're ever in town, reach out to us. We want to be part of the solution, not the problem.
Yeah, Happy Munkey with a U, y'all. Make sure y'all look that up.
That's dope. Fatima, you want to go next, Queen?
Sure, no problem. You can find me personally at herb_John. I do everything from little educational clips. I really think Black people should get into glassware and, different types of smoking, learn how to, use those pipes for your benefit. As far as my 2 businesses, if you're interested in our products, we do a CBD pre-roll. Of course, we have our smokable herbal blends. You can check those out at both Etsy at Mello Infusions. That's our shop name, or you can check out our website. We also have an Instagram by the same name, Mello Infusions. If you're interested in us as a membership, please check out the website, but more importantly, check out the Instagram for now. It's about to go private as of October 1st. So while you still have the chance, please go ahead and check that out. It's Mello Cafe Philly. We're very, very close-knit community. We're all about education, herbalism, combining hospitality with that space that you usually have at home, but like away from home, if that makes any sense. So our goal is eventually to get our own lease. We're building a team right now. We have some investors that we're really proud of earning, but for the most part, we just want to see people happy here in Philly. And if you ever get a chance to stop by Philly, please do.
Most definitely. Well, I'm from Trenton, New Jersey, not too far from Philly. So when I'm back home, I'm definitely coming through. And brother AK, tell folks where they can find you.
Yes, sir. So like you said, my name is Adhu. You guys can call me AK. You can reach me at www.akaveksa.com. That's akaveksha.com, or info@akaveksha.com, or our Instagram, AKAVEKSHA, Facebook, Gmail. Call me anytime. My cell phone is linked as well to the office line. So if you guys call me at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., I'll still pick up, and I'm going to still give you the health consultation you need. So you definitely hit us up anytime. We're very open to building with the community. So we appreciate you guys. And thank you to all the panelists and to Tahir for having us here.
Dope, brother. And like I said, for everybody listening, I'm Tahir Johnson with the National Cannabis Industry Association. You can hit me up, 202-952-1146. Tahir Johnson on LinkedIn, Ty Diddy on every other platform. I try to hit up, talk to as many people as I can whenever I get the chance. So looking forward to connecting with y'all, and thank you, brothers and sisters, for coming through and rocking with us today. Big shout out to Tahir and everything you're doing with the CannAtlantic Conference, giving us platform for people that look like us to talk and do this. And also big shout out to Philly Black Cannabis Week, you know, and everybody all over the country connecting together to come out and do this. So appreciate y'all.
Everyone, that was an amazing panel. I really appreciate the amount of wisdom that everyone was dropping on this chat. I'm glad that everybody was able to connect through this as well. It really means a lot to have your support, just to even be a part of this and really taking some time out of your busy schedules. I know all of you are really busy, to be able to talk with us a little bit about your experiences and shed some light and some insight for other folks who are certainly in your spaces and trying to figure things out as well. For those who are listening, thank you for tuning in. We are going to try to bring some of the speakers that you're seeing now to do a little Q&A portion with us during this part of the conference. We're going to talk a little bit more just about what's been going on, and we're also going to answer your questions as well. So if you have any questions for our panelists, please put them in the chat, and we'll try to get to them as well. And so if you're watching this, thank you again for supporting the CannAtlantic Conference. Thank you for supporting the Philadelphia Association of Black Journalists and Black Media Entrepreneurs out there. And we'll see you at the next panel.
Appreciate y'all.